Okay, hi guys. It's Jared here. My leadership project was based on the men's tennis team winning a national championship, but not only that, but winning the Pac-12 regular season and the Pac-12 tournament and seeing how far we could get there. So the initial goal here was for the team to come together and to win a Pac-12 championship and a national championship. We did end up winning the Pac-12 regular season, and so that's one for one. We did come up short, losing in the semifinals of the Pac-12 tournament. So we're one for two now, and the NCAA championships haven't started yet, and they'll start next week. Um, but hopefully we can come together and really get after it there. Now, how the actual and planned results differed. So what happened was there was a three-way tie between Utah, USC, and us for the Pac-12 championship. We had to rely on other teams losing for us to win the championship. The planned result was to be undefeated in the Pac-12, but after that was broken, we came back from our losses to eventually come away with the championship. So planned undefeated in the Pac-12 champions. Actually, there was a three-way tie in between us, Utah, and USC, all having a 6-2 record and all beating each other. What I did and what we did to produce the results. So, as a team, we were undefeated at our home courts. This was extremely helpful for the team to uh, win the Pac 12. We did lose our first Pac 12 match against Stanford, so we did start with an 0-1 record. And right after that, the team came home and we sat in the locker room and we talked about how, as a team, can we fight for each other more and how can we come together and bounce back from that. We had a team reflection on basically seeing if there was anything that we were missing, and we found that we needed to really play to each other's strengths to be better in the areas and ultimately get more wins. We paid more attention to the way we structured the lineup, and the coaches took more input from the players on how we could best perform in certain conditions. I thought that was really helpful, especially because sometimes you feel like the coaches make some decisions and you just have no idea why, and the coach and the players being involved really helped us feel as together as possible. We won 5 straight matches. We lost to Utah, which denied us the outright win of the Pac-12. But with one match left against ASU in the Pac-12 season, we came together as a team and we beat them, which ended up uh, allowing us to tie for the Pac-12 title. Project overview. Uh, Challenges we faced and how we overcame them. So we lost our first Pac-12 match against Stanford, and really that was the first match, and it was way back in the start of March, and we played a bunch of lesser teams in the start of the season, and we could get away with being selfish and really just play for nothing bigger than ourselves, but play for just ourselves, and it would kind of get the job done. But now we're playing better teams, and Stanford's a very highly ranked team, and we needed to play for something bigger than ourselves. We needed to stand for something bigger than ourselves, and just be causing the matter and be there in the moment for each other. And I feel like we didn't put the team first, and throughout the course of the Pac-12 season, we really started to do that well. What I discovered about myself and others during this project, I just feel like I needed to be more assertive as a leader. I found that at the midway point, I hadn't expressed the goals that I had for the team, even though they were the same goals that we made up as a team at the start of the season. I feel like reinforcing them vocally and as a team really needed to be done better. So after the midway point, I stood up more and acted like I had something to say and really instilled this belief in the guys that we could do this. Like, we're a really good team and we could win the Pac 12. I found that some were more willing to do it than others. Some sacrifices need to be made. A little less, you could so call, fun outside the courts needed to be cut down. And we had some who really bought into that, and we had some who it took a longer time to really buy into what everybody else was doing to sacrifice for that championship. And I found that looking good matters more to some than the goals that we had set together. And I feel like this was also something for me personally, especially at the start of the season when I was not being as much of a leader. And I would just want to look good to the coaches and I wouldn't want to speak my mind. But I found that some other guys on the team were similar and they kind of just let things ride and go along, get along, as Rob likes to say. And as the season went on, we really started to step up for each other, and it didn't matter. We were more of our authentic selves, and it produced better results. So, a deep and purposeful reflection. How do I recruit for myself differently after completing this course? I am way more aware of the way I listen to others. Before, I always like to be one step ahead, and now I really focus on what other people are saying and try to make my responses as clear and precise as they could be towards someone else. Um, I found that being your authentic self carries more long-term success, especially when you're practicing something and you've practiced it for a long time. You have the basic skills. Once you can apply being your authentic self in that situation, uh, it's going to do you way more wonders than just going along with what you think someone wants from you. If you do what you think is your best version, overall, you're going to succeed. Speaking my word has more power than almost anything else I can do, as everything is created in language. This one's a really tough one for me, but I found that I got better throughout the semester of speaking what I wanted to say. And when I wanted to say something, people listened. And I always felt kind of small and didn't feel like I had enough power. But if you say something like you mean it, it becomes very powerful. The state of being can alter everything in the way that you live for yourself. Uh, After we had that one guest speaker who was talking about the level of being and how you occur for yourself, kind of like Rob has been preaching all semester, I really flipped a switch and started to think about it on the daily of how I could occur for myself for that day, who I needed to be for that day. And I felt more in control of my life, and I thought that was really powerful. How do others occur for me differently after completing this course? I'm more aware that people are to each their own. Everyone's a different person, and I feel like sometimes we can group people into certain groups, and sometimes just go along with certain stereotypes or kind of what other people say about other people. But everybody has a voice, and I feel like sometimes we forget that. And learning through this course and learning how to listen to people has been really powerful. I noticed that people will compare or compromise their integrity for doing what's easy. I found this on my team throughout my project of kind of how people will come out into practice And coaches always preached that we needed to bring everything we can to practice. And then sometimes you would notice that some people weren't giving as much effort because you only had to be there for 2 hours. But flipping that mindset and knowing that you get to be there for 2 hours and have that integrity for yourself that this is what you're here to do. Like me and the guys on the team, we're here to play tennis as well as be as a student, and not take the easy way out, because if you want to achieve something great, compromising your integrity is never the way to do it. People have built-in excuses that compromise their ability to listen. This was one that I had a lot of trouble with at the start of the semester, and I feel like I noticed it a lot in other people where they don't even listen to what you have to say. They already think that they are right, and it's really tough for someone who's trying to speak their mind and help them to really get something out of it. What, if anything, do I do differently in the future based on this course? I am going to practice what it is to be for myself and catch myself not being my authentic self and not trying to look good. I feel like that's a big one for me, is not trying to look good and not having predetermined responses and try to be, just the witty guy or someone who's always looking a couple steps ahead, but to be in the moment and to be someone who really takes in as much information as they can to then react to and choose what they're going to do. Needing to be more aware of my rackets I possess. This is a tough one because everybody has these rackets that um, they've built as maybe a young kid or maybe they're new. But it's being able to look past them and not have tunnel vision when in certain situations. Speak as I have something to say. That's probably one of the biggest ones, is just speaking up and standing up for myself. Knowing that people want to listen if you want to say. Now, what being a leader means to me now versus my perception prior to this course. Now, what I thought being a leader was is really just telling people what to do. But I found in this course, you need to help others discover what their best version of their self is. And I feel like that's something I can really take into my post graduation, and whether I coach tennis or work some job where I will be leading some people. I know that I need to be on a one-on-one level with them and try to cater to their needs as much as I can. And being your authentic self and following your word creates credibility. Uh, I just feel like credibility is created by, um, of course, information that you've gathered, but being your authentic self and following your word creates credibility for yourself. Saying and doing what you do is very powerful, and that's what really being a true leader is. People can count on you. What in this course made a difference for me? Believing that the best version of myself is worthy of leading. So I started this course thinking I could lead, but really being my authentic self and being the best version of myself, I can truly discover that I am and can be a good leader. Staying true to my word is extremely powerful to myself and anyone who's listening. That goes for everybody. Staying true to your word is one of the most impactful things you can do. Already always listening, taking a step back and really listening to what people have to say. Um, Being heard, like being genuinely heard, is one of the most fulfilling things that you can do. And learning in this course that that can be passed on more than often. I really think that it can be a difference if everyone tries to almost listen better and get out of my own way, get out of my own head of that I'm not good enough or I I'm not my feelings. It was a great way that Rob put it, and yeah, just be for myself and my authentic self. My commitment or not going forward to continuing to work and to master the course distinctions, reaching that level of being and realizing that I can be whoever I need to be for myself. That's definitely the biggest one for me. I'm gonna think about it every day of whenever I get lost, grounding myself and getting to that level of being that I am who I am and I am who I choose to be. What would I tell someone who's considering this course? It's not like any other course I've taken. The power of discovering for yourself and others is worth more than a test has ever tried to teach me. Um, this course really is something special because you are discovering what works best for yourself. And not only that, you're learning from others and how they are in these situations and how they help you discover for yourself. And you really have to buy in. Like if you go into class and you sit there and kind of just listen to what's going on, you're not going to get as much out of it. You need to engage and you need to be present in the moment because it's some really powerful stuff. And if you do discover, you're going to think about it for the rest of your life. And people I would like to acknowledge, I'd like to acknowledge my classmates. It was a lot of work. Like there was a lot of headaches in this class because sometimes you would get nothing and sometimes you'd get a lot of things. Or even if you just took one simple thing from each class, that's more than enough. My friends, teammates, and coaches who I laid all this information on them. Uh, I would tell them these things, and we talked about conversational domain. It's completely different for people who aren't in this course, but trying to help them understand how powerful this stuff is. Uh, I feel like at least some of the people I talked to really hopped on board with me, and I thought that was really cool. And of course, thank you, Rob, for this semester and teaching me things that I never really would have learned um, in a course or anything that they just give you a pamphlet or just try to teach you not ontologically like you did. So I appreciate that, and that was my presentation. Thank you, everyone.